Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. It's the brother Bayan here from the GMS New Orleans camp, here to bring you a quick lesson. Prior niggas started, I want to give infinite honors and prayers unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Kakwadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught me this truth, peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, Yuakim, Yuakwad, those your brothers and sisters in Hebrew that believe. All right. And for this lesson here, it's going to be titled on the basis of, the Lord allowing us to work towards the most legendary reward. All right. And, understanding that many men have received, their consolation already, the riches, the vainglory, things that it really doesn't compare what the Lord has in store, for the men that's working for him. Okay. And again, there's more motivation to push and to continue to keep your hands on the plow. All right, knowing that this reward will never be given out again. All right, it's not like a Super Bowl that happens every year. It's not like the NBA championships that happen every year. This is a once in a lifetime, opportunity. Okay. Appreciate they came to mind. Get this real quick. The book of St. Matthew, chapter 22, verse 14. It says, this bitch a fucking load. It's like it. It's not loading up. Let me try something else. Connection is moving real slow, Salakia. I don't know what's going on. Here we go. Yeah, this is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 22, verse 14. It says, many are called, but few are chosen. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Many are called, few are chosen. Okay. So we know that it's many people, that have once had this word, that once had this understanding, all right, and know what the reward is, get, some type of understanding of what the reward is. And, they're just not chosen. All right. The Lord will just cast them away and, throw them back into the world. All right. That's why you have to move, in this thing with fear and trembling. All right. Making sure that, your whole heart and mind, with your heart that goes into your mind, your life, is fully towards, Yahweh Shemi Shai, that your eye is single, all right, that you're not, on a fence with anything, or, fighting, not really fighting, but, just having concerns of the world, all right. If you have your concerns on the truth and everything with the spirit, you're going to reap everything of the spirit, okay. But continuing on, the first precept that I have on deck is going to be St. Luke chapter 6, verse 21. It says, blessed are ye that hunger now, for ye shall be filled. Blessed are ye that weep now, for ye shall laugh. All right. Blessed are ye when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as evil for the Son of Man's sake. Rejoice ye in that day, and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in heaven. For in the like manner did their fathers unto the prophets. But woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. Woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep. All right, it's going to be a whole complete role reversal. Okay, so all of these people that are pretty much on the top, celebrities, all of these men that is living, pretty good right now, all of that's going to come to a halt. All right, because again, we know that the Lord is not dealing with them on a righteous level. All right, and the promises that He has is for the men, His righteous men, His saints, that is doing His work. All right, so He's going to kick them out from the level that they're on and replace it, with His men. all right, hit the believers, okay? But it won't even be on that level. That is going to be on an even more higher and extreme level, you know, because we're going to be judges, man. All right, we're going to be judges and heirs to the throne, okay? Judging, you know, and serving with Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, you know. Let me get that. The book of St. Matthew, chapter 19 and 27. It says, Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Yahushua said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. All right? We shall sit upon the 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. All right? And that's glory in itself. All right? To be on that high level, you know, to be held to that standard, to be a judge, you know, in the kingdom, you know, where everything is going to be gravy for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you know, it's going to be an honor, all right? And that's what we're pushing for, man. And, you know, you always got to drop these lessons, you know, to remind yourself, you know, what's on the line, all right? You don't want to be, you know, coming to kingdom as a, you know, what we say in the Hebrew Huggies, you know, to be somebody who had the opportunity to get it, you know, to receive their crown, to do the work, you know, to be chosen, to be of the elect, all right, but fumble it, you know, and just have to come through the loins of a righteous man, all right, which we know, you know, through the mercy of the Lord, and it's beautiful the way that the Lord has it set out, you know, that all Israel is still going to get the kingdom, but it's still going to be levels to this thing, man. So if you think on that type of time, why not, you know, shoot for the stars? Why not try to be the creme de la creme, you know, be the top, you know? But it says, verse 29, and everyone that hath forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive an hundredfold and shall inherit everlasting life. All right, but many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. All right, just like what I was going into, complete role reversal. All right, Jake is at the bottom, even, you know, even with some of our people, you know, Jake is making it day by day, check by, you know, check to check basis, you know, just surviving out here. All right, but rich in spirit, you know, that's what brothers, you know, mind should be on. You know, we're not looking for the riches of this world. We're not looking for the glory of this world. All right. If we have to live like that, you know, as long as we get the daily bread, you know, the food to eat, the clothes to be put on your back, you know, you can't really complain about it. You know, it's just how the Lord has it. All right. But the Lord is in here promise you that, you know, if you forsake all of these things, if you keep a lot of these things on the back burner, all right, forsake, you know, the Lord to go through the scriptures and tell you, you know, if you don't hate your mother, hate your father, and so on and so forth, which that just goes into, you know, just loving less, you know, it's the truth, and everything has to be revolved around the truth. Okay. So you have to, again, keep everything on the back burner, keep the first thing, keep the main focus on this truth, on the ministry, you know, and doing the work, and then you're going to receive everything else 100-fold, you know. So, you know, again, that's motivation in itself. You know, the Lord's not telling you that, all right, you want to go ahead and do this, and I'm still going to take everything away from you, and you're not going to get nothing. All right. Nah, the Lord is righteous. The Lord is balanced. All right. You do this work, I will give you this reward. All right. And that's just it. Okay. But I mentioned something about, you know, vainglory. This is the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 26. It says, let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another. All right. But the point is, let us not be desirous of vainglory. All right. Whatever, you know, that thought that you have in your head, those dreams that you used to have of being a man here in America, you know, buying into that American dream, the white picket fence, you know, with a nice house and the big family, and what Jake like to say, breaking the curses here in America, you know, the generational wealth, you know, doing all these things is not gonna happen. All right, we see that this place is circling down the drain, circling down the toilet. All right, and those things are just not going to happen. So your mind should automatically shift to the Lord. You know, that's the reason why the Lord does this. That's why the Lord has everything operating how it's operating. All right, this place is going to be destroyed, and it's in the process of being destroyed, and you can clearly see who is trying to hold on and who is letting go. All right, and the Lord is dealing with those men who's, you know, spiritually fleeing away from this place, you know, according to Micah 2:10. All right, but let me see. I'm gonna end it off with the Sirach 44, but I'm gonna get this real quick. This is Sirach chapter 9 and 11. All right, it says, "Envy not the glory of a sinner, for thou knowest not what shall be his end." All right, delight not in the thing that the ungodly have pleasure in, but remember they shall not go unpunished unto their grave. All right, so again, there's many people out here who's not serving the Lord. All right, that's constantly sinning. I mean, which we all sin day to day, but they got some niggas who, you know, are not even repenting. All right, that's just, you know, stacking sin on top of sin. All right, and just being pets of Esau, Edom, you know, following and doing the things that this devil is commanding them to do so. All right, and those are the men that are typically in these higher places, you know, pretty much that they sold, you know, and so on and so forth, you know, just seeking that bag, you know, seeking a little bit of money, you know, to be famous, to be in that Hollywood realm, you know. Everybody's mindset nowadays is, you know, social media, you know, let's be a streamer, let's find some way to be famous. All right, and it's just, again, something that's just not going to work, right? Even if it worked, man, it's most likely a snare that the Lord, you know, has Satan putting you in, you know, for you to be destroyed. All right, so delight not in a thing that the ungodly have pleasure in. All right, we know what we need to do, man. It's plain and simple. We know exactly what we need to do, get the job done, so we could go home. All right, so we could go home and reap the benefits of serving Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Okay, but I'm gonna end it off here with Sirach chapter 44 and 1. You know, one of my favorite chapters. It says, "Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us. The Lord has wrought great glory by them through his great power from the beginning. Such as did bear rule in the kingdoms, men renowned for their power, giving counsel by their understanding and declaring prophecies." All right, leader of the people by their counsels and their knowledge, learning meet for the people, wise and eloquent are their instructions. All right, let me see. I'm going to jump down a little bit. Verse 7, it says, "All these were honored in their generation and were the glory of their times. There be of them that have left a name behind them, that their praises might be reported." All right, and that's where you want to be. All right, you want to be of those men, you know, that have left a name behind them, that their praises might be reported. All right, you don't want your report to come back that, okay, he was a 2/3, he was a nigga. All right, you know, he needed to die. He needed that great reset, you know, to you know, to enter the kingdom. Okay, but it's going to be, you know, on the other side of the spectrum. All right, it's going to be men who's been pushing and doing this work. All right, the angels are reporting all of these things. All right, and to have that great name behind you, you know, through all of this shit that was going on in America, you know, you did it. You kept your head down. You kept working. All right, and you're going to receive that consolation, man. All right, and it says, verse 9, and some there be which have no memorial, who are perished as though they had never been, and are become as though they had never been born, and their children after them. All right, and that's that's the other side of the spectrum. All right, who has no memorial. All right, you're not going to be written about. Your story is going to be as plain as the others. You know, when it comes to, all right, you know, just fall in the boat of he was a nigga. He was a nigga, and he didn't do nothing just like the other 2/3. You know, however much that amount is, you know, the actual amount. We understand it's the 1/3 and the 2/3, but those 2/3 of Israelites could be in the billions. You know what I'm saying? But let me see. I'm gonna read it through. Verse I read 9. Verse 10, it says, "But these were merciful men whose righteousness hath not been forgotten. With their seed shall continually remain a good inheritance, and their children are with the covenant." All right. And again, their seed shall continue to remain in good inheritance. All right. And because of your work and your good doings and you serving Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you know, your seed is going to be, you know, affiliated with you, obviously. But, you know, just to have that affiliation of like, that's your father. Your father was one of those men. All right. That's going to be one of those stories that you could sit down and tell all your children, your great grandchildren, your great 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 grandchildren, or whatever. You know, they're going to know that their father was a man of the Lord who served the Lord. All right, and that's beautiful in itself. You know, just sitting there imagining, you know, hearing those things as a child. You know, to know that you know that's my father. You know, that's even more motivation. You know, I want to be that guy. You know, I know brothers want to be those men as well. You know, we want to be that. All right, don't want to be in, you know, the vainglory. Don't want to be a hometown hero. Don't want to be, you know, the face of New Orleans, the face of the country, or whatever. Don't want to be none of that shit, man. I want to be elected. You know, I want to be of the 144,000. All right, so, you know, I pray that this lesson was edifying, and I pray that, you know, you brothers continue to push, man. All right, it's a reward, again, that is never going to be placed again on this earth. All right, so get it while the getting good, and, you know, make every moment count. You know, you only get one shot. All right, so again, I pray that this lesson was edifying. Trying to get out of here, I want to give infinite honors and prayers unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught me this truth, peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, you Akim, you Akwat, which is your brothers and sisters in Hebrew that believe. And Shalom.